I'm setting this to record too, because this is for posterity. This is good.
Okay, recording.
So we're gonna have a record, Tata. That's a chair.
Oh, okay,
Definitely.
good, good.
Yeah.
So hang on a second. I'm trying to get my attendance down here.
Just to let you know, our teacher's mic is messed up. It just works out loudly sometimes. Your mic works out so loudly it just jumps people.
Well, maybe I can.
So just to give you a heads up, that's what her mic does.
I can't help. It's just my laptop, I guess. But
Yes.
thank you for pointing that out, Tiffany. Or is it just me because I get loud?
No, it's just your microphone.
So hang on.
Lori, Jose won't be joining us today either. He had an appointment, so.
Oh, that's okay. I miss him, but so hang on. I'm trying to get you into request.
Yeah.
So the camera control, I think you have control now. So if you call
Okay, so now I could say approve, right? All right.
Yes. So so good. So you approve that, right?
Yeah, okay, now is it up? So
no, I don't see it yet. You have to do that share screen.
Share screen?
But before you go there, I'm going to give you guys a chance, introduce yourself. So I'm going to just say briefly, this is Nikki, and Nikki is in the anthropology class in the South Portland campus. And she's done very well, and I really am so pleased that she's put this presentation together. And Nikki, do you want to introduce your
Yep. So this is the presentation today is going to be on African spirituality, specifically in the traditions of the Palo Congo tradition, and also it's the Afro-Cuban Lucumi African or Yoruba tradition of Santeria. Is that right, Tata? Is that how we could explain it? Okay.
So here's a question, just quickly. Everybody in this class, do you even know what Santeria is? Any ideas from anybody out there in La La Land here?
Oh, you took the words out of my head.
Yeah, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to, do it wrong or give it a bad connotation to it.
We're gonna talk about that.
But but just say what you think. What you know of it. Let's just it's no shame, nothing to be ashamed about.
Or something along that lines where you kind of do spiritual witchcraft type of religion.
Yeah.
That's basically how my religion has taught me what
What Santeria is. Okay.
But Rich, you've heard of Santeria. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Has anybody else even heard of it? Have you ever heard of Santeria?
I heard of it. That's it.
Yeah, I've heard the name, but not much else.
Not much else? Okay.
All right. You guys are going to learn a lot of stuff today. Some real stuff, some truth.
Truth about Santeria.
That's it. The real deal.
The real deal.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't want to give it like everybody like the bad idea of what I've heard. Yeah. So I didn't.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being honest, because you're not the only one that thinks that way, and I think it's a great platform for us who know and study and practice and as an initiate of both traditions, really some truth and some light on what's real and what isn't. And so I'm excited. I think that this is important for the world, and I think it's important for our faith and our belief in it. So I'm excited about that. I'm kind of glad that you've heard that negative connotation, so we can bring some light on it. So all right, so let me start. I'm a little bit nervous because I'm not like a scripted person, you know what I mean? I kind of go off of things, but I'm gonna do my best. So this is Tata Omibara. He's a parero, which is a priest in the Palo Congo tradition of African spirituality, and he is also a santero, which is a priest in the Afro-Cuban Lucumi in the Yoruba tradition of Santeria. And so I guess first and foremost, I know that Tata has an anniversary coming up for how long he's been within the tradition. So Tata, can you talk about how long you have been a practitioner?
Okay. I would say that since the late 80s, 1980s, was when I really knew the direction that I was heading in. And so in 1993, I hooked up with a godfather. Because in the Santeria tradition, you have your godfather or godmother is your teacher, your mentor. So you have to. That's how you learn. So it was in '93 that I went looking,
Yes.
for that. So I would say officially since '93, I've been a practitioner, and I've been an initiated priest in the Congo tradition of Palo since '96, and in the Santeria or the Lucumi tradition since '97. I was initiated in May the 12th, 1997 in Havana, Cuba. My godmother took me there. She's a Panamanian, Black Panamanian, and so she took me to Cuba, and which really blew my mind because that was like the last thing that I would have thought of where I would be initiated at.
Tata, that's so powerful.
Yeah. So to next Tuesday will be my 23rd anniversary as an initiated priest. So I want to thank y'all for inviting me and giving me
It's a big deal, y'all. Just saying, it's a big deal.
It is.
It is. It's a big deal. Tata, that's such a beautiful story. And yesterday when we did this for my class, which I did mention this to you, but how much I learned about your personal life experience that you had. Especially before you became initiated in either tradition, because I know the stories of now, but to hear some of the stuff that you had been through from before, with your pilgrimage and all that, which I know you talk about, but I was really inspired by all those things. And I realized, you being my Tata in the traditions is very important, because I mirror some of your own testimony from my own life. And I don't know if that's the same for everybody, but I know for me it is. And I know personally I've shared some of that with Lori, that box that I was in spiritually. And when that box broke open for me, a whole new light came in. And so it really changed so many things. What do you need? What? Oh, hold on 1 second, guys. I have Jose's asking for something in the background. I'm sorry, you guys. What?
That's all right. So,
you need to join here.
could you
Oh, you're gonna join? Oh, guys, Jose's gonna join. I didn't think I thought you had to leave.
No, I gotta leave at 4.
Jose's in? Good.
I think so, for a couple of minutes.
All right, for a couple of
He
minutes.
has an appointment at 4. So, okay, guys. All right, you're gonna have to plug it in. All right, so this is good. I thought he wasn't gonna be able to join us. All right, so when you come in, you're gonna be able to join, right? You joined? Yeah, join video.
Oh, hang on.
Is he in there? Sorry, guys. Sorry that.
So one thing I wanted to say is for the gentleman that was saying that his understanding of Santeria was negative. I'm saying don't think that this is common. Even in my own family, when I told them that I was being initiated into Santeria, they thought it was something negative like witchcraft, black magic, things like that. So this is a common stereotype that we have to face.
Yeah, it has that negative connotation, and that's why I'm glad it came up, because we can kind of shed some real light on it.
Right. Yeah.
And give some truth behind the negative connotations. And I think a lot of that negativity comes from like a fear-based thing, one, from the movies, two, and from a Christian look on what is sorcery, what is, what's considered devil worship and all that stuff, because they don't understand. And so it's been, to a certain extent, it's a lack of knowledge and a lack of understanding. So,
That's more or less where I got
are
it
you
from.
good?
My
Yeah.
religion preaches that, anything that's not, the Christian view
Jesus.
is not right, more or less.
Yeah.
So I
Well, just
understand that,
Lori, can you guys
that,
see Jose?
I can see Jose.
Yeah.
Oh, they can see you. Okay. All right, guys.
And just imagine that was during slavery time when the Africans arrived in the New World in Cuba, Brazil, Trinidad, Puerto Rico, and the United States, that they were looked on as heathen and devil worshippers because they weren't Christians. And one of the first things that the slave owners would do when they came off the ship was to baptize them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and give them their faith. Yeah.
Yeah,
Christian.
but they resisted for a long time.
Yeah.
That's why you have some protest songs like the so-called Negro spirituals, like "Give Me the Old Time Religion,"
Yeah.
"It's Good
Yeah.
Enough for Me." These
Yeah.
are protest songs,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. hmm
A lot of gospel music was that exactly. Protest,
Exactly. Yeah.
coded messages. Holy cow. It was
Yes, definitely
Yeah.
far
coded.
much
Yeah.
more.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And even the net, like you said, you mentioned Hollywood, the
Mm.
Yeah.
stereotype,
Mika.
voodoo.
Yeah.
Where in Haiti, that's another country I forgot to mention was Haiti.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a big one that gets
Haiti, for
negative.
the big
Yeah.
part, follows the voodoo tradition of Dahomey or
Yeah.
Benin, and this, was shortened. The word was shortened to voodoo.
Yeah.
And it was made to be something that was negative, sticking pins and dolls to
Yeah.
create curses and things like that. When
Yeah.
actually the word voodoo means that which is sacred.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really, Tata, you're right. It's for me, I mean, I'm such a baby in all of it. But shut the door, Jose.
Mhm.
I'm getting feedback.
Getting
Okay.
the feedback.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear the feedback, but I could. I know that for me, just getting a glimpse and all these things, but coming out of a world that kind of has that derogatory, and even from my own box that I broke out of, having had such a steady faith in Christianity. Not that the Bible doesn't have purpose and also place, because there's things that I see now within the pages of the Bible that I didn't see even before knowing what I know now. There's a deeper understanding of it from what I understand now, but I think having to had to break out of that to see it for truth and see it for what it is, which was a huge liberating experience for me, probably one of the biggest. And it took a long time. I remember at times calling Tata like, I don't understand, because it has substance for me, and I would call in tears. I don't know if you remember Tata, like when those first months, when I was really coming to an understanding of what the truth of that was and what it meant to me, and how personal of an experience I had with my Christian faith, but now having this new light. And so I really wrestled with that. It was a wrestling thing for me. But yeah, no, it's real.
So, Nikki, do you want to call up your the beginning of your PowerPoint? And
Yeah,
then
let me try, because I don't know if it's
you can give the whole history. And I'm really fascinated, Tata, with your own journey, having been raised Christian, then going to Islam.
Pilgrimage, yeah.
You put your toe into so many waters of faith.
Yeah.
What a rich experience.
Yes. So on my screen right now, Lori, I have, it says host disabled attendance screen sharing.
Hang on. Oh no, I didn't disable it. Let me see. I'm getting to learn. But if you don't mind, if you don't mind, you can talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I can go through the series of questions, or Tata's really better. He's such a teacher.
He's a wonderful
himself.
storyteller.
Yeah, and so Tata, why don't you just take the floor? And I mean, I have a series of questions here that we can refer to, but you have the same questions because we went over them. So why don't you go ahead and start wherever it is you would like to begin.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I do have Jose here if he wants
I would like to tell a little bit about myself. My journey. I was raised in a Christian church. My mother had me in the church. I went to the Baptist training. I was in the Boy Scouts, the Ambassadors for Christ, and even in the summer I would go to the daycare. I mean the camp.
I'm
So
sorry, one second. Try it now. I'm sorry.
now,
Keep
okay.
going. I
Sorry,
didn't
Tata.
Right.
So then I was baptized, I would say around the age of 12, I was baptized. But then when I was 16, I had my first contact with Islam. And what fascinated me, you can't hear?
No, I can hear you, but Lori, it's not letting me share.
All right, hang on.
Oh,
But we can save it to the end if you want.
I'm listening. We're working on this technical stuff. Go ahead. Keep
okay.
going.
So at 16, I had my first contact with the religion of Islam. And what they told us was, this is the religion of your people. This is the religion of the African people, Islam. So that fascinated me. And I went home and I told my mother that I wanted to follow the religion of my ancestors, of our people, Islam. And my mother, being a very wise woman that she was,
Try it now.
she told me, she said, it doesn't matter what religion you follow, as long as you're sincere, to just be for real.
Aww.
And I remember my first Ramadan. This is Ramadan that we're in now.
Yes,
This month
right
of Ramadan.
now is Ramadan.
Yeah, and my first Ramadan, she would get up early in the morning. You have to eat before sunrise, the dawn meal. And she would get up and cook and fix me pancakes. I was like 16, 17 years old, so I'll never forget that. She would cook breakfast for me so I could fast. But then I was in Islam for like 35 years. I never really thought I would leave it. And
you made the pilgrimage to
Pilgrimage,
Mecca.
Yeah, I made the pilgrimage in 1976.
Wow.
1976 to Mecca, and then I went from Arabia to Pakistan and India. I stayed over there almost 4 months, traveling around doing like missionary work, what they call Jamaat, Tablighi Jamaat. I traveled with them, so in those two countries, and but in the 80s, I would say, when I was going through my early 40s, I was going through a midlife crisis, I would say. And I remember sitting on the edge of my bed, and I was talking to myself, and I said, everything in my life is up for grabs at this point. I mean, I have to put everything on the scale. I can't, on the second phase of my life, I don't want to take no excess baggage in to the life with me, even my religion. And when I said that, I startled myself because, my religion. But then when I thought about it, I said, yes, even my religion is, I have to weigh it on the scale to see if it's beneficial or not. And at that point, I would say I began to see where I wasn't getting anything from the Islamic rituals anymore, like I used to, And so I started searching. I was always fascinated with Santeria, as they call it, which I don't really use that term. I don't like that term that much, Santeria, but because that's a latter day term since the Cuban Revolution.
Yeah.
But the African spirituality, I was always interested in it. But like the gentleman said, I had always been taught that it was negative, that it was witchcraft or devil worship or something, black magic, And so even though I was fascinated with it, I would read books on it, but I had no intention of becoming a practitioner. And then I would say in 1986, I was reading a book by the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, and it was Man in Search of a Soul. And a voice spoke to me because I was by myself on the bus, had the door shut. I had my break at the end of the line, and a voice spoke to me and said, "Do you want me to help you?" And when it said that, the feeling that goes like from your head to your feet, it just went through my being. I knew it was otherworldly voice speaking to me because nobody else was there, and I felt it. I remember my grandparents used to say, when you had this feeling, it was somebody stepping on your grave. But that feeling, so I got up from the back of the bus where I was sitting, I walked up to the driver's seat, sat in it, and I looked back there. And I was afraid, but I said, yes, I want you to help me if you're a servant of God. So it wasn't right after that, I started having lucid dreams. Like every night, I would wake up in my dreams and not only just wake, I know that I'm dreaming. And things that was happening in my dreams, I was telling myself, you got to remember this because these are messages for you. This is a message, you know. So I started having these lucid dreams, and I would say it wasn't long after that that I was getting, you know, I was ready to you know, to be initiated. I realized that my destiny path was to be a priest in the Santeria, or the Yoruba spirituality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a rich testimony to hear, and I'm just you know in kind of in awe in it. But I remember having the similar kind of experience when I first came to the tradition myself. It wasn't exactly the same, but it's that moment when you know when you come to the end of that plateau that you kind of reach, and you can't go up any further. There's nowhere else for you to go. You know, and that faith level of where you were at, and you say, there's got to be more than this, you know, and that was the beginning of it for me too. And yeah.
Since Jose's got such limited time, can you?
Yeah, we can ask Jose. Do you want to share a little bit about real quick before you do have to go? Do you want to talk about you know, I know that you want to talk about a little bit about how you came to the traditions, and also how long you've been initiated, and also your priesthood.
All right. Basically, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. This is my dear. He's my heart. He's also someone that's very close in my life within the two traditions. He's family. You know, he's my closest friend and my heart. So he's very rich and cultured. And go ahead, Jose.
Well, yeah. Basically, my family comes from like Cuba. Like my grandmother was born in Cuba, and my mother was born in Cuba. I'm first generation in this country, and you know, it's very rich tradition that's in my family, because my grandmother brought like her religious stuff when she fled Cuba when she came. And as a child, you know, I always used to see her doing things, and you know, it just came, you know, I guess it's like a learned behavior, because you know, basically seeing her doing stuff, I really got acquainted with like the spirituality part of the religion. I didn't really get initiated into anything until like I was 16. I got like my warriors, and I got a couple necklaces, and then like I was just, you know, young, so I was running around, and I wasn't attending to my spiritual stuff. So then further down the line, like maybe like, you know, 10 years later, I got, you know, not initiated into Palo, but I got like my beads, like my ilikis, and I started to put more
in Lucumi, right? Your Lucumi tradition.
Yes, in Lucumi, you know, in the Lucumi tradition, yes. Yeah. And you know, I started to like be more like in tune with my faith. After a while, you know, I met Tata through his nephew, and we built a relationship for a while, and you know, I got to know him before, because I think that anybody that's gonna make a type of commitment, like religious commitment, like with a godfather, somebody, you gotta have like a good understanding of who they are, and they have a good understanding of who you are, so you won't have like conflicts or anything. So I was very patient, and he was very patient with me, and then, you know, I took the step to get initiated into Palo Congo. And that happened about maybe 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago. But you know, everybody's spiritual evolution is different. So I was able to become a Tata, which is a high priest in Palo, a little faster. I think because just my spiritual knowledge and just where I was spiritually, the Eguns, which is the spiritual ancestors, said that I had to receive it. So I went up on it, and I received my prenda, which is
yeah, I can show you some of the pictures. So this is a picture of, and Tata, you're gonna explain that. So some of this stuff that you're gonna view is new, but this is actually Jose's prenda, right? And
Okay.
and this is we'll talk about what a prenda is, but this is part of his priesthood in the Palo Congo tradition of African spirituality. And then we'll talk about what a prenda is, and then here's Jose. This is a picture I had of Jose before, but this is one of his. This is his prenda, and you can give the name of your prenda, Jose.
The name of my prenda is Sarabanda Paso Colunga, which means passing waters.
Yeah.
Which is an ancestral prenda that derives, the spiritual essence derives from the African slave ships coming across the waters to the new land, to the new country where they were,
enslaved,
exposed to, like, the Americas, South America, Brazil. And basically, I've been a high priest for like about maybe a year and a half. I haven't been fortunate enough to initiate anybody, but I can. But I'm taking my time because I'm a very patient person when it comes to my spirituality things. Because I feel that I have to ask before you initiate anybody to see if the prenda is willing to accept the person in the family or into the rama. But I'm just very patient, and I know my time will come when I will have my own godchildren like my godfather. But I'm really trying to master my craft, and learn, get more spiritually acquainted with the spiritual essence of the prenda, so I could be able to work it in a beneficial way.
Yes. Che, thank you so much, Jose. I almost, I look at Tata here, and I know I get emotional because I'm a woman, but I look at Tata and I look at Jose, and it just touches my heart to see all of us together right now doing this. It's really such a gift, really, especially to have the light that we have to shine on the topic. But Tata, I wanted to ask you a little bit, and we're gonna talk about what a prenda is and what that means and all of that stuff, so you guys aren't lost in any of it.
Nikki,
yeah,
and Tata give us that history, like he gave a beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask him to do. If he could talk about the origin.
And the Yoruba and the Yoruba, where they come from.
Yeah, Tata, can you give us a little bit of the history and the origins, or the African diaspora, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me say that the African spirituality, which that's I love that term, because all religions and spiritual disciplines come from African spirituality. That's the mother. That's the mother source. And if you go back to Egypt, this is where you find all of the spiritual concepts are written in indelible ink, which is the stone that's on the temples, etc. That was found. But these go back into antiquity. So the Yoruba people, they left Egypt. They were living in Egypt. They left Egypt because of religious persecution when the when the Muslims came, they wanted to force them to give up their ancestral traditions, and they refused. So there was the chief of what's called Lamarudu, and they assassinated him and a lot of his family, but 3 of his sons survived. And one of them, which became the progenitor of the Yoruba peoples, Oduduwa, they left about 30,000 people, they say. They left and they started migrating across the deserts into West Africa. They're down through Benin or Dahomey, back then it was called Dahomey, into present day Nigeria, the southwestern part of Nigeria. They was told that it was a plain there called Ife. Ife means to stretch out, to make wide. And there were people already there, but this is where these Yoruba people, Oduduwa and his band of followers, that they settled, and they more or less conquered the people that was there. And so any Yoruba person that you speak to, they would tell you that the originator or the progenitor of the Yoruba nation is Oduduwa. The spirituality that was found there was already there. The form that we have today. There's a deputy of God. We call him Orunmila. Orunmila means heaven knows how to save, or heaven has salvation. That's what his name means. Orun is heaven in Yoruba, and Mila is to save. So when we praise him, we say Orunmila, Ilera Ipin, means the owner of the destinies. He's the owner of all destinies, the knower of all destinies, because we say he was present at creation. If you remember back in Egypt, when you see the god of wisdom, which the Greeks called Thoth, the Egyptians or the Kemetic people at that time, they weren't called Egypt, because Egypt is a Greek name, but the name was Kemet, the land of the blacks. And he was called Tehuti. And you see him with a book, he's the divine scribe. Well, this is the same as Orunmila, it's the same person. Orunmila, whether they call him Thoth, Tehuti, or Orunmila. He's a divine scribe, and we say he's Ibikeji Edumari. He's second only to God Most High, because he's the one that recorded all of our destinies. So he's the one that taught the people. We say he had the knowledge of past, present, and future, the knowledge of space and time, and the knowledge of heaven and earth. He even knows all of the characters and numbers of all of the divinities. So that's why we say he's second only to God. So this is where we get, this is the foundation of African spirituality. One of the things of, the tenets and concepts of African spirituality is divination, which means to divine with the divine, to commune, I would say, with the divine. Reincarnation, we believe that we come back many times here on earth, because heaven is our home and earth is our farm. This is a Yoruba saying. So we come to earth time and time again not for salvation, because what is to be saved if heaven is, the Christians say that heaven, that we want salvation to go to heaven. Well, the African spiritual man says, heaven is my home. I come from heaven. So it's nothing to be saved about going back, because when we die, we know the spirit is going back there automatically. So we don't believe in hell or the devil. We believe that we come to earth to acquire good character, so that we are actually in the act of becoming divine.
Yes.
To go back to the Godhead. So it's like God having physical experiences to learn.
Yeah.
So this is so we have divination, reincarnation, sacrifice, and rituals.
Yes.
And
Yes.
one of the things that I find with most people, that, especially in the West, that they believe that the African traditional religions are polytheistic, that they worship many gods. So, but in actuality, we have the one God, the one spirit that created everything. We call him Oludumare. He's the one spirit. He said he created himself out of the triple womb of darkness through his own mind or through its mind. Because, you know, we have a tendency to use the male pronoun for God, but we know God has to be female as well as male, you know. And in fact, most of the early divinities in the Yoruba pantheon are androgynous beings.
Yeah.
They're male and female.
Tata, doesn't Olodumare mean owner of the serpent's womb, which is the Kundalini, right?
Yeah.
Olodumare is owner of the serpent's womb, right?
Well, I tell you, Oludumare, they say he is above everything. There's nothing like unto him. I think of the Islamic prayer in the Quran, where it's chapter, I think it's chapter 112, but it's called "Say He God is One." Kul huwa Allahu ahad. Alam. Kul huwa Allahu ahad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. They say that God is one. He is independent of all things. He begets not, nor was he begotten, and there is nothing like unto him. So Oludumare is above all of the divinities. In all African spirituality, yeah, you'll find we have divinity. We have the goddess of the river, goddess of, you know, of creation, all the different goddesses. But these are divinities that Oludumare has created itself.
So they're aspects of his personality in a way.
Aspects of him, aspects,
Yes.
different.
Yeah.
We are everything that is an aspect of that one spirit, the all in all. So in that sense, it's really monotheistic.
Yeah.
If you look at it in that sense, but everything else is created form, created the universe out of nothing.
Yeah.
You know, so yes.
So go back to the deities. I guess for the Lucumi tradition, who are the deities? And if you were just talking about Oludumare, are they aspects of his divinity, the Orisha?
Of his character, its aspect. In other words, you know, in mythology, you find that the concepts and principles are put in story form because it's easy to understand. Everybody can get something out of it on the level that they're at. This is why it's said in the wisdom traditions that the mind of the Father's sown symbols throughout the whole world. Symbology.
Yeah.
This is where, you know, so this is when you go to the symbol, you get what your spirit needs, what your soul needs at that time. You can get it. So in most cases, it's put in a very simplified form, which even if a person doesn't really understand, they would laugh at it and say, "Oh, that's a fairy tale." So we say that Oludumare was a gem unknown.
Yeah.
So he wanted to be known, so he created creation. Okay. And that he's so high above the creation that he has other concerns. He can't concern himself with our affairs, with the affairs of human beings. So he created the deities. And the deities, there's no number. The deities don't have any number. You know, some people say there's 401 or 301, but it just means that they have no number. You can't count them, but they carry out all of the different functions. And so there are deities that, you know, when we get to the diaspora, you know, where the Africans were brought to Brazil, most were brought to Brazil more than any other country, and also Cuba, Trinidad, the United States. They brought certain deities over with them, but that doesn't mean the ones that we're familiar with. There are many that you could say are lost deities, are lost to us because they're not even worshipped today, or or venerated, acknowledged. So, but when they came to Cuba, which really we're dealing, so this is Santeria, we're dealing basically with Cuba, because in Brazil the tradition was called candomblé. It's still called candomblé to the day. But in Cuba, when they came, basically the basic nations, African nations that came were the Congo, the Yoruba, the Abakua, which is the Karabali. These are three of the main, that you find. Oh, and also the Ewe and Mahi from Benin and the Fan people.
Mhm.
So, but what they did different in Cuba that they didn't do here was that the Catholic priests allowed each African nation to have what they call in Spanish cabildo, or clubs, where they could go on their days off and they could worship and whatnot. So the Congo people had theirs, the Yoruba people had theirs, the Karabali people, they had theirs, the Pan. And what the psychology behind that was, they felt that as long as we kept the nations, these enslaved people, separated, divided, that we could, divide and conquer.
Yeah.
See? So what they did, which was very ingenious, was that they would hide the worship of the African deities. They would synchronize them with Catholic saints.
Yeah.
For example, one of the main deities that we have in Santeria is Shango,
Yeah.
the god of lightning and fire, and the drumming. They synchronized him with Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
you had Yemanya, or Yemonja, as she called in Africa. Yemanya is the Spanish pronunciation. They call her Santa Regla, the Saint of Regla, the Virgin of Regla, Virgen de Regla. Because she had the blue on, and Yemonja, as we say, is her physical manifestation is the ocean, as well as all the other waters of the earth, the seminal, the seminal fluid that the baby is born in, the
Right. Yeah.
rivers, everything, so the rain, everything is her. So, and then Oshun, which is another very popular deity, Oshun, the goddess of love and femininity and creativity.
I actually have an offering that I did for
Yeah.
Oshun here
Um,
somewhere. I thought I had a picture.
Saint Cortadad del Cobre. They synchronize her with Santa del Cobre. So this is how they did it. But they were, so the priests, when they saw them, so, oh yeah, let them. They would have their processions. They would bring the Catholic saints out, but they weren't. But really,
They weren't actually worshiping the Catholic saints.
Yeah, they were hiding
African
behind that mask. In
Yeah.
other words, they were
Yeah.
hiding behind that mask. So, they're
Tata, talk about some of the ways that we worship the Orisha. I know that was one of the things. Oh yeah, how we communicate with the deities, and also what are some of the things that we do? Like I have right here an offering that I did for Ochun, probably about, I don't know, 9 months ago, maybe a little longer than that. But some of the reasons why we give offerings, and also how it is that we communicate. And also, can you talk about Egun and ancestral worship?
Yes. Well, most of the Orishas that we have, I would say all of them that I know of, are deified ancestors.
Yes.
Shango, Oshun, Yemanya, Obatala, they are deified ancestors, because they said in the ancient times, you had a freedom to travel between heaven and earth. You could travel from heaven to earth at will, or you could travel from earth to heaven at will. So all of the deities or the ancestors, were going back and forth from heaven to earth. And so as they became deified ancestors, people began, to pray to them and all, but one of the main forms of communication with the ancestors as well as the deities is divination. Orunmila taught us how to divine. Now there's many forms of divination, which we call Ifa. And there's Ifa with palm nuts, 16 palm nuts. There's the cowrie shell divination, 16 cowrie shells. There's a chain which is called Opele chain, which has 4 shells on one side and 4 shells, usually made out of coconut or something like that, on the other side. In other words, there's and also in the New World, since they couldn't find cola nuts, because in Africa they use 4 cola nuts, so they improvised and used 4 coconuts. So we can use it's the light dark method or the head tails method. Anything that has a head and tail, or light and dark sides to it, you can use for what we call OB divination.
Tata, I like that you're bringing this up because it reminds me of, and people don't know this. This isn't in history books. I don't think. I mean, I've never read it in a history book, but that these traditions are ancient and they have withstood the test of time. And there was measures that were taken by the African slaves that came over across foreign waters for thousands and thousands of miles that would their spirituality and the universal meant so much, and it was so much ingrained in a part of their life that there was no way it wasn't coming with them. So they would swallow their things and carry them. They would excrement them out and then wash them off and re-swallow them.
Yeah.
To keep traditions alive, Tata, right? And when they got here, there was things that they didn't have to use, but they would improvise, right? So they would use things because they didn't have the cola nut, but when you think about that and how it has survived, just in that alone, like, why to go to that length,
well, it's a reason for that too. It's a reason for that. See, because when you look at Cuba didn't end the slave trade until the late 1870s, when the importation of slavery into the United States stopped very early in the 1800s. I want to say about 1830, but it might be around there, where they stopped bringing slaves in, supposedly. There's certain instances like the Cotilia, the ship Cotilia that was smuggled into Mobile Bay in the late, like 1862 or something like that. But for a general rule, slavery lasted longer in Cuba than it did in the United States. I mean, as far as bringing fresh slaves in from Africa. And then, see, in the 1830s, 1840s, there was a kingdom in the Yoruba land called Oyo, O-Y-O, the Oyo kingdom, which fell because the Muslim warlords were coming from the down on one side, and the Dahomean were attacking on the other side. So in other words, the Oyo kingdom fell. And what they did, instead of killing the noble people or the priests, the king, the chief, the people that knew how to reconstitute society, I would say, they were sold as slaves. So you had thousands, maybe millions of slaves that come from Oyo, from the Yoruba land, into Cuba. So this brought a resurgence, like say in the 1860s and 70s, a resurgence of the African tradition into Cuba. You see, so that's why the Lucumi or the Yoruba, the reason that we use the term Lucumi is because in Yoruba there's a phrase, my friend, I mean, or Lucumi. So they would greet each other, oh Lucumi, oh Lucumi. So the people just heard this and say, oh, they're Lucumi people, but they always using this term Lucumi. So that's how Lucumi came about. You know, we say this is Lucumi, call the religion Lucumi, but it's really Yoruba. You know, it's a Yoruba tradition, and it's also a very high form of cosmology, a very high cosmology. The Yoruba tradition is because it comes right from Egypt.
Yeah.
So, so that's why it more or less superseded all of the other traditions, except maybe for the Congo tradition, which we get Palo from,
Yeah.
which is Congo and Angola. We can't forget Angola. Congo and Angola more or less go together, you know, with that tradition. They use the same tradition. So these two are very strong in Cuba, the Lucumi and the Palo. But yes, that's what happens. So that's why you find that the more or less everybody looks up to the Yoruba tradition because it's a very high cosmology.
Yeah. Yeah. Tata, I wanted to see if you could talk a little bit about the requirements to practice both Palo Congo and also Lucumi. What are the requirements as far as practicing? Can anybody just, you know, start practicing, or what are the requirements?
No, it's through a series of initiations in both traditions. You have to be, and even in the Kalabali tradition, you have to be initiated. So there's various forms of initiation. Like for example, in Santeria, Lucumi, the first initiation is to receive the necklaces, which we call ilekes.
Yeah.
These are the banners of the orishas, like you have on, right?
Yeah, these are
One has the colors. The bees have represents the orisha, because it's the colors of each individual orisha. And this is like more or less the basic 7 orishas that survived in Cuba. You know, they call it the 7 African powers. Siete Potencia Africana.
Siete Potencia. I have a Siete Potencia.
Yeah. So it's the 7, but there's many more orishas, but these are the main ones that survived. Because a lot of the knowledge died out in Cuba because the priests that came from Africa, maybe of a different orisha, like Aganju or Baba Luaye, they didn't pass the knowledge on all the time. So when they died, the knowledge died. So the people didn't know how to you know initiate into that particular orisha. So this is what happened. Then also they realized that they were in a unique situation. They were cut off from the motherland, and a lot of the circumstances that they were confronted with was different from what had, you know, in Africa. So they had to more or less improvise with the religion. In Africa, like you had a family orisha. Say if Obatala was your family orisha, everybody in the family would receive that orisha or worship that orisha. You know, and then if through divination, if it said that there was another orisha that had your head, your ori, your spirit, then you would receive that. But most people had only 1 or 2 orishas that they worshiped. And you know, travel wasn't like it is today. Like if you live 30, 40 miles away in another village or city or town, you know, you might not never really come in contact with other people. So, but when they got to Cuba, they realized that people from all these different regions were thrown in together. So they said, well, okay, instead of initiating to just one orisha, the orisha that owns the head, then we will give you the basic 5 or 7 orishas at one time. So this is what they start doing in Cuba, which is different from Africa even today.
Yeah.
Even today in Africa, if you go to Africa to get initiated, you're probably going to only receive 1 orisha. Where if you go to Cuba, you're going to get the basic 5, you know, like that. So it's different things like that they started having to change up. And another thing that they did, one other thing I want to say, that they did was everybody, every priest that came to Africa, even though came from Africa, even though they were initiated in Africa, when they got to Cuba, they had to be initiated again, over again. So they said you had to go through the two gates of Osha, of initiation. So they would reinitiate them again. So that was something, so that they could control, the priests could control the initiates.
Mm-hmm. Tata, what as far as your as a priest in Palo and a priest in Lucumi, what are your roles within the tradition, as far as initiation or yeah?
Okay. Well, like my godmother always told me, because my godparent is female, and she's the one that took me to Cuba to get initiated. In fact, in 1994, when I went to Miami to find out what Orisha had my head, she took me, and when I found out, and the reading came that I was born to this was my destiny path, is to work with the dead and work with the spirits, with the divinity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was ready, I wanted to get initiated right then. And she told me, she said, no, it's a process. We're going to take our time. And it took me 3 years before I was initiated. But she always said that
you mean before you're scratching?
Custodian, huh?
You mean before you got scratched in Palo? It took you 3 years?
No, not Palo. I'm talking about.
In Lucumi.
Lucumi.
Okay.
No, but she said the priest is a custodian of the culture.
Okay.
That's the role of a
the
priest.
culture. I love
Custodian of the culture. So that means that you are a teacher, you're a parent, you're a healer, and diviner.
Gotcha.
And the one thing that she always pressed point was that your reputation is all you have as a priest. So you don't want to lose your reputation. So I've always followed that, like do no ill, do no harm, to help as much as I can, any way that I can. Of course, you can't help everybody, but But that's where divination comes in. Divination is very important because you're not left to guess for guesswork. When you divine, then you know what the answer is because you're inviting spirit into the ritual space.
Yeah. So
spirit tells you what's needed.
Yeah.
It's not you. I'm not coming from my own head,
Yeah, explain that a little bit to the ones who, well, obviously don't know what it means to have that Orisha has your head.
Okay. What we believe is that that when we were spiritual beings in heaven, before we came into the physical body, into our mother's womb, we had to go before the throne of God, and we would pick our destiny, or sometime a destiny will be given to you. But it's what the soul needed on its sojourn on earth, what experiences the soul needed to go through or acquire. And there's a deity that comes with you that governs or protects your spirit. In Yoruba, we call that the Ori. The Ori resides in the head. I know in some African traditions, like Egypt, it's the heart with the spirit. But in the Yoruba, it's the head, because the head is the chief organ of the body. Yeah. The body cannot live without a head, but it can live without the other limbs, right? So the spirit resides in the head. So when we say Ori, we're talking about the inner Ori, the spiritual head. And there's a deity that governs that on this particular incarnation that we're doing. There's a certain deity that owns our head or controls, or well, I won't say control, but protects your spirit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's what we mean, the Orisha of the head, the Orisha that has my head.
Tata, what Orisha has your head?
My mother, Yemanya.
Oh, Yemanya.
Yeah, that's where I get my maternal, my nurturing, I get from her. She's the mother of all the living. In Egypt, they called her Isis. Yeah. Or Aset. She's the great mother, the mother of all living. She's the one that said, I'm all that was, is, and will be. No man knows from whence I came, and no man can lift my veil. That's the great mother. That's her.
That's Yama, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know who has my head yet. I'm still waiting. I've received my Aliques, and also my warriors, which I actually asked. I did some divination to ask if I could show you guys my warriors, and they did say yes. And I also got permission through divination to show you guys my boveda, which this isn't something, this is like my personal, but I also, even Tata said it would be okay to show the prendas, or the pictures, so we were able to do that as well. Let me see if
And
I
also,
can.
you asked me about the ancestors.
Yes,
Well,
the Egun. Yeah, can you talk about that?
We have a saying in the tradition that the ancestors come before the orishas, or before the deities. The reason why is because they're part of us. They're within it. We carry their DNA in our blood.
Yeah.
The ancestors. So any ritual that we do, we always go and propitiate the orishas first. I mean the ancestors first.
The ancestors first, yeah.
You give them the offering first, or ask their permission, or ask their help. When I'm doing a ritual, I always go to the ancestors and I ask them to help me, so that everything will go good.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I did that for
and they answer us. They answer us before they say the ancestors will answer your prayers before the deities, because we're their children. We're here on earth,
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're watching us from heaven. So
question, because you have a picture here, Nikki.
Yeah. So this picture is this was actually when Jose and I visited Tata in Philadelphia, because him and his wife live in Philadelphia. And last year in late August, I got initiated into Palo Congo, which was my it's called where I got scratched or initiated into the tradition. But it's funny because Jose and I had went out sightseeing, and we had absolutely no idea that this was going on. But the local was it the art museum, Tata, or was it the university?
Yeah, the art museum where Raquib, the statue of Raquib.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there's an art museum there, and they had students from, I'm not really sure where they were, but they were doing a I don't know if it was a ritual, but so Jose and I were walking down the street, and a woman was walking down the other side, and she saw our Aliques, and she said, "Oh, do you guys know where the procession is?" And we said, "What procession?" Obviously, we recognized her Aliques right away. And we said, "What's going on?" Well, she took us both by the waist, and she said, "Oh, you guys are missing out." So she came, and there was a whole band of initiates and believers in the tradition that were doing one ritual within, like, it's like hidden in plain sight again, but also they were doing Orisha worship and Egun, giving worship to Egun and praying specifically for things. And then they did song and dance. So that's what this woman right here is doing. She's praying and giving offering to Egun, which is one of the totems down here, or their statues. And it's believed that Egun or entity lives here, right? Tata, is that accurate? Or inside the totem?
I think that's a tree where she's at.
Yeah, she's definitely at a tree, and then there's there's an ancestral like totem here with the offerings. So we ran into this out of nowhere, and we were blessed by it. When we came back, Tata, we were so excited when we came back. And then let me see, I have a picture of what's that?
I think actually the ritual was for Olokun.
It was for Olokun, yeah. And in the reading that you did for me, if you remember, that I was gonna get a blessing from Olokun. And they did a song specifically during the procession just for Olokun.
Yeah.
Which was I was blown away. Yeah, that was amazing to even run into that. And so this was a picture. Let me see. Here's Tata and Jose during my initiation. You can see Tata here is in white. And they're wearing these little kind of breast beads that go across the chest this way. These are called the banderas. These are used during ritual. And this is me the day, just moments after I got scratched. You guys can see I'm scratched here and in my back on both sides. Here's my arm, my feet, and on my hands. You can see. And these the prendas are behind me, which I always feel so double blessed because I was scratched when we went to Philly. Jose, this is when Jose received his prenda, and I was scratched under too. So I always feel so double blessed for that.
So that's actually cutting into the flesh.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
So Tata, can you talk about that a little bit and what the prendas are too?
Yeah. Well, the scratching you found all throughout Africa. Whenever they give medicine, especially spiritual medicine, they will scratch the body just enough just to bring a little blood up,
Yeah.
and then they put the medicine into the body in that way, incisions. You know, so that's why we call it this scratching. That's the first initiation into the Congo tradition, the Palo, is to be scratching. The medicine, the special medicine is put into the body in that form.
Yes, I was also, there's, you know, obviously there's I hold a position in a place, but during this initiation, I was blindfolded because there's things that, you know, especially for an initiate that's so young, that I'm just not ready to see or experience or to know. I'm not ready for that knowledge yet. And so there's a lot of things that are held back until the proper time. And so, you know, even
the prendas. The
prendas, yeah.
Okay, the prenda is the vessel that contains the spirit.
Yeah.
It's called the garden of blood and bones.
Yeah.
It's a lot of different animal bones in there. There's plants, herbs. You can see the staffs, but that's what the name Palo means in Spanish.
Palo, yeah.
It's the wood, the sticks. So but each one of those sticks belongs to a certain tree or plant, herb, you know. And then also the human bones. There's human bones also.
Yes.
And this is what everything that the spirit would need to have like a universe of its own. Yeah. So this is how we, you know, put the spirit into that vessel. Yes. And then in Cuba, you'll find like those particular ones are iron kettles. It can also be clay pots, or even like cloth burlap sacks.
Oh, the burlaps, yeah.
You know, But
sometimes in a lot of Spanish homes, I've seen them hanging it off the wall into like a bag
a bag, right?
Yeah. They hang. They can't touch the floor. They hang there like that.
Yeah, they hang. They bring them down when they're doing rituals.
They bring it down.
Yeah, bring it down to the floor. But yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of dirt in there, soils from different places. You know, like banks, cemetery, you know, hospital, all street, four corners, crossroads, all, you know, it's a
all
whole
the different
process,
elements.
You know? Elements, yes.
For the entity
right.
for the
entity. But this is Congo tradition.
Yes,
this is not Santeria, it's Congo.
This is Congo tradition. So Tata, this is where I feel like people get that negative connotation of like the devilish stuff and the lack of understanding that they have for the spiritual aspect, and they call it, you know, through this media and movies and that devil kind of evil connotation.
Devil worship.
Yeah. How can you kind of clear up some of that as far as intention goes? Because Lori and I had a conversation like this yesterday, a small one, but I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, like it's whatever your intention, you know, it's, you know, and if you're going to do good things, you know, I mean, I know for us, Tata, we don't work like that, you know?
Well, and then one of the things that I love about the African tradition is that they don't discriminate. It's not dogmatic. In other words, you can be Christian, you can go to church, you can worship Christ, you can go to synagogue, you know,
Black,
Buddhist or
white,
whatever.
Puerto Rican.
In other words, yeah, it's you know,
no matter.
yes. So we don't have that, you know, that it's only one way under the heaven. It's only one way that you can be saved or that you can, you know, have salvation. No, we don't have that kind of concept because we know that it's all one. No,
Yeah.
there's many roads that lead to Rome. You know, so it doesn't matter what path you've taken, or even if you have multiple paths. You know, but this is a tradition that goes back into antiquity.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a healing for the
Yeah.
nation. It's healing for people. People can come. I've had so many people come to me with problems, whether it's marital problems or financial or whatever, you know, and for the most part, you can help them through divination, find out what needs to be done, what the problem is,
Yeah.
and what is the solution.
Yeah.
So this is the thing, but we know like the stereotype that was given, because when the slaves came from Africa to Cuba, the United States, and Brazil and all, they were considered heathens because they weren't Christians. See?
Savages.
So quite naturally, their form of worship was considered devil worship.
Yeah.
You know, and then Hollywood, you know, with voodoo and whatnot. So,
which is really the furthest thing from the truth, Tata. In fact,
right.
I mean, it's almost offensive to our core. At the core, really, it's
right.
that one energy is one energy, but you know, this is
well,
you know,
and then you know, like with all things, you have people in all faiths that are maybe are charlatans, you know, and want to misuse it. You have people like that, you know. But the thing is that's always kept me on the straight and narrow is that I know that when you work negative, you bring negative upon yourself, darkness upon yourself, or karma upon yourself. So my thing is just like the doctors take a Hippocratic oath to do no harm.
Yeah, we definitely have that
I'm not
ethic.
going to do any harm. You know, so it's up to the individual. You have to have, the priest has to have the conscience.
Yeah.
To do the right thing.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Because most of the deities, you know, our nature itself, you know, nature is neutral.
That's the deities represent nature and it's universal.
Nature is neutral.
You know, like,
nature is neutral.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I just wanted to kind of clear that up. Did you have something you wanted to say, Lori?
Yeah, I just want to open it up to the students here if
questioning,
got questions, and I hope they're listening and appreciating this.
I hope so.
The information is explosive, and
it's a lot.
It's a lot. But what do you got? You know, you guys now. I'm hearing so many things that connect to what we've learned in our course, like modality, where all the different tribes that were caught in the diaspora with the slave trade would suddenly now start to find ways to connect and unite. And we're definitely looking at systems of pantheism. And we're looking at all these realities, cultural realities that fit largely with what we learned throughout our course. So what do you guys, what questions? You got to have some. Let's hear them.
Hey.
Zachary, yes.
I can't remember the Prinya,
the Brenda?
Oh, the Brenda, yeah.
I heard you mention that there's human bones in it. How do you exactly get a hold of those? Because just from what I know, they don't come easy.
How to get them bones?
Yeah, well, I say those who know don't tell.
Yeah, I mean, we're not out there murdering people. You can order. You can
it
order
was just
stuff
like
online.
they were like donated or something.
I mean,
it varies different ways. You know, in fact, you can go to. I say if you went to most African countries today, I know for a fact Nigeria, and you go to the marketplace, you can buy bones.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you know, it's a whole different way of
Yeah.
looking at things over there, you know. So yeah, you can whatever you want, you can buy.
Yeah. So with the elements, I guess the elements, how do they pertain that when they go into the prenda, those are needed to bring the essence there? Is that how you would say it? Okay.
The spirit,
Bring
right?
spirit, yes.
Yeah.
So those elements together, whatever they might be, because there's secrets in there that I don't
Right.
know that are in there, because those
Right.
are for priesthood. And so
Right. You have to
so
be initiated to know that, you know, that
the
type of thing.
secrets that are in there. Yeah.
Right.
And so, but that was a good question, because that's what gives it that weird connotation, guys. Zachary was right. So, you know.
Yeah. But that's the Congo tradition. Now in the Yoruba Santeria tradition, we don't deal with our pots or shrines. Usually they have rocks. Like maybe if it's a water orisha, a water deity, you would have river stones. If it's ocean, then come from the seashore shells and things. So it's, you know, it's like that.
It depends on the pot, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pot, but we still have a process of consecrating each shrine, you know.
Yeah. Anyone else have any questions?
Please ask. Come on, guys. This is your big opportunity.
I had more questions about the prendas.
Good.
So it's a vessel for the orisas, right?
Yes.
Well, for spirit, for the
yeah, the orisa spirit.
Yeah.
Okay. And so as far as its purpose goes, is it just sort of used in rituals, or is this like a daily shrine that you visit?
You can visit daily or weekly or whatever, you know, like that depends on, you know, the person, how they, you know, and like in Africa, I know a lot of times they have like a 17-day cycle that they go to their shrines, you know. But and then whenever you need to go, if you need to go for you know, for a client or for help, you know, you go to your shrine, you know, and communicate. Yeah.
All right, so I just want to, because I understand where maybe some questioning can come in, or confusion. Like, so right, we're always so busy feeding our minds, right? We go to school, we go to college, we take college courses to feed our minds, and we feed our bodies, right, 3 times a day. Usually, me like 6 times a day, but like, you know, we neglect our spirit, you know, and so these are ways that we're feeding our spirit. I believe Tata would agree with me on this. If you're not feeding your spirit, it's gonna die, you know, and not really, because everything for me begins in the spirit, and then it manifests to the natural. And so, if we're looking for these, say, food to cure a spiritual problem, it's not gonna work. You have to go to spirit to cure spiritual things, and
That's
or
why we call
even
it spirituality.
yeah, or even
developing the spirit, because there's a difference between religion and spirituality.
Big
That's
difference.
two different things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so and
religion
essentially
to dumb us down to a degree. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm stepping on anybody's toes, but religion tends to dumb us down because we're taught that there's only one way, one book that we should read.
Yeah.
You know, one way into heaven. You know, so yeah. With spirituality, you realize that everything is part of the one.
Spirit,
There's only one spirit.
Yeah.
And we are spirits living in bodies. So we are really spirit ourselves. We're not a body that has a spirit. We are a spirit that's using the body,
right,
you know, on this earth plane.
So guys, remember what was the term for that kind of type of religion or belief system? What was the term for that?
Oh man.
Animism?
Animism.
That's right. We talked about that.
That's the anthropological.
Yes, the use of forces and energies and.
Well, no, everything has a soul. Everything. Everything has a spirit.
Everything has a soul.
Yeah.
Everything has a spirit.
Not just people. Animals,
trees.
Plants.
Yeah.
So that's animism.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Let's hear from other people.
I actually had more questions. Sorry.
Let's go ahead, Brendan.
All good, Brendan.
So the spirit that inhabits the prenda is that the spirit that has your head, or is it just sort of?
No, no. In fact, that's two different systems. See, the
Yeah.
Congo system, that spirit
Oh.
that's in the prenda is a spirit that you make a bond with. You bond with that spirit, that spirit will work for you and do things for you that that you couldn't do yourself.
In what
Right?
way, Tata? Talk about that. In what way?
They're like, for example, cleaning people off from negativity.
Right here.
You know, like I know for sure that my prenda loves
Yeah.
to clean people, to
Yeah.
break off negativity from the person, from their life. You know, so we have a ritual we do. It's called rompimiento in Spanish.
I had the
Cleaning off of the
rompimiento.
clothes. Yeah, and you clean the spirit
Mhm.
with different. I mean, the person with different herbs and
Yeah.
maybe a bird, a rooster, something like that. You know, and whatnot. Then you give the blood to the prenda, to the spirit. The
Yeah.
spirit eats the blood.
So talk about that too, because I think that that's what has the negative, evil kind of connotation. But talk about the essence of that and what that is and how it takes the negative but gives life.
Yeah, well, because see, some people feel like animal sacrificing turns them off, but even in the Bible, the Israelites, they sacrifice to God a burnt offering every day in
Yeah.
the temple in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
They would kill the bull or the calf, and they would burn their sacrifice. They said give a burnt
Put it
offering
on the altar.
to the
Yeah.
Lord. Yeah, so
Burn it.
I mean, this is nothing new. There was a time way back in antiquity, in ancient times, that they thought the greatest sacrifice was the human sacrifice.
Mhm.
That you would really please the God if you give a human sacrifice. That's where the Muslim ritual of Eid al-Adha, or the Eid of sacrifice, comes in, where you sacrifice the ram.
Mhm.
Because Abraham was told to sacrifice his son
Yeah.
Isaac in the Bible, and then in Islam it says Ishmael.
Yeah.
And when he was
Right.
about to do it, the angel stopped him and told him, "No, you've already fulfilled your sacrifice, so go give the ram." So this is, this.
But why is it? What is it about the blood? What is it
Yeah,
about the blood?
the blood contains the life force, the chi, or the ashe, the prana, the powa. This is the life force is within the blood. So this is when we give the blood, it brings, it's the highest form of sacrifice. But then it's not always blood. You can give
No, it's
food,
not.
herbs,
Yeah.
fruit,
Yeah.
different things, money. But that's the highest form. Usually for serious cases, like if someone comes sickness or something very serious, you'd have to give a blood sacrifice.
Yeah.
But that's and then like he asked a question, well, what it is, the spirit that's in the prenda is a spirit that's lived on earth, a human spirit
Yes. Yeah.
that's lived.
You
See,
see,
so
but
the
before
bones, that's why the bones represent, the bones is that spirit that when they
Yes.
lived on earth,
Yeah.
so
Let me ask you, Tata. Does the prenda has to agree to be a prenda, right?
it's a pact
The
that you make.
entity, yeah.
Right, yeah, they have to agree.
And what's the purpose of it for that entity, so he can
Receive light. Usually the person that works in the prenda, that spirit is a spirit that lived the life of darkness. So through helping people, helping others, they receive light
in what
and
do they
elevation
evolve? They
in the
elevate,
spirit
right?
world. In the
Uh-huh.
spirit world. Because we have what we also call dark deceased.
Yeah.
People that died that lived negative lives, like rapists or murderers or things, so they need light, because in the spirit world, you don't have lights and you're in trouble.
Yeah.
I guess it's probably like a form of torment.
Yeah. We'll I know if you see over here in this picture, there's a candle burning here. I don't know if you put candles to your prenda, but I know that Jose and I will every now and then, but the prenda's already getting light working. But my boveda, actually, I'm gonna show you guys my boveda. And if you guys have any more questions, I'm gonna pull up my other camera so I can walk you into my room. And I'm gonna show you guys my warriors that I got during my initiation, and I'm gonna show you my boveda too. If I can get back to my camera, if it'll let me do it.
Keep up with the questions.
Yeah, if there's any more questions, feel free, because he's
Brandon, you got more?
Again.
You
Hi.
got more, Brandon?
Yeah, I got more.
Okay.
So as far as so you recognize God, if I understood that correctly. You do recognize like God. So as far as like, do you? I mean, I assume that you don't worship in the same sense, or do you worship at all, or is there like do you have congregations and stuff?
Like a church?
Okay. Yeah, we recognize God. That's an old. We call God in the Yoruba. He's called Oludumare. In the Congo, he's called Nsambi. But it's the same concept of the God, like you would say God the Father, right? So this is the one God, the Spirit, that we all African traditions have this. We worship God. Also,
we have a ritual.
I don't believe in, like Christians believe that Jesus Christ is my personal Savior. I don't confess Jesus Christ as my personal Savior or that in order to be saved. No, we don't believe that. I mean, but as far as Jesus being a prophet, Jesus probably did good works, or if he, Son of God. Because that term Son of God, to me, we are, as Paul said, know you not that you're the Spirit of God, and the Spirit of God dwells within you. We are, and John, what is it, John 10, I believe it's 10:7, but say when they were going to stone Jesus, the Jews was going to stone him, and he said, "Well, for what good works do you stone me?"
Yeah.
He said, for what of my good works that I've shown you, are you going to stone me? They said, we're not stoning you for your good works. We're stoning you because you being a man maketh yourself out to be God.
Equal
and
God.
He said, is it not written in your scripture that you all are gods and sons and daughters of the Most High? So that's what we act in the act of becoming.
Yeah, we are in the act of becoming, and that's the point.
I think Brandon's other part was, how do you congregate like churches? When you think of the church,
right. We have what we call bimbes, different gatherings like for different ceremonies, or just maybe to worship a certain orisha. We have what is called a bimbe. It's a gather. Usually it's drums and singing and dancing. And sometimes the spirit will come down and someone will become possessed. That's why we say that the Christian goes to church to worship God, but we go to the temple to become God. Because when the spirit comes down, that spirit takes over your consciousness for that time, and so.
And I think that in itself has that connotation, like that has that same connotation, like, oh man, they're possessed. It's not a possession. I mean, I guess possession, that word possession has like this evil movie kind of feel on it, but it's really the mounting of a spirit. And I mount spirits, guys. And I'm not,
the spirit's mounting you. And speaking through you, using your body to speak.
Yeah.
That's what it is. All African traditions are based on spirit possession. All African traditions.
Yeah.
That's how we congregate or worship. In that sense.
How about the misas, Tata?
The misas is another thing. That's the spiritual, you could say spiritual seance.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of like that too. Yeah. But
I could tell you a story about the misa. And when I went to Cuba to get initiated, we had a misa before I went into the room to be initiated. And one of the ladies there, she was going through this thing like she was feeling a lot of pain and crying. and she said that my wife was sick, and that this particular Orisha, Oshun, would save her if she came and got initiated, and plus it was a ritual that I had to do. So I did the ritual while I was there. I came back, told my wife, I said, you got to go to Cuba because, to save your life. My wife went 4 months later. We didn't know anything was wrong with her, other than she had COPD, but that's all we knew, and that didn't seem life-threatening. So she went and got initiated. About a year later, the doctor called her because of her routine x-ray showed some scar tissue on her lungs. And he said, I don't know what it is. Could be just scar tissue. He said, but I want to check it. They checked it and it was cancer. But it was very early, and so when she was in the pre-op room, she told me, she said, go look out at the room number that I'm in. And it was room number 5, which is Oshun's number.
Yep.
It was like Oshun telling us, yeah, I told you I was going to save her.
Yeah.
So she had part of her lung cut off, cut out, and then no chemo, no radiation.
Ashe.
5 years later, it came back in the second lung, in the next lung. And that time, again, the doctor told me, he said it was the size of an M&M. And again, she didn't have no chemo or radiation after. And that was like 2004. So she's still here.
This is an offering of the deity he's talking about that saved that healed his wife.
This is
so
the deity
true.
that saved her.
And if there's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Numbers are very powerful, guys, but 5 is that's her number. That's Ochun's number.
5.
Okay, guys, any other? I've just been trying to get everybody in here. I want to ask at least one question.
We'll answer anything. How about who's down at the bottom? I know that you were curious about the negative connotations that Palo or even Santeria
were you talking about that?
Yeah. Has anything changed your
What
mind?
you got, Riley? Riley?
Oh, I was just saying, I was kind of wondering the same thing. Like, I know you talked about the blood and also like how in movies it's portrayed, but I was wondering why people kind of associate it with devil worship. I don't really understand where that comes from.
Because of prejudice. In other words, in order to enslave a people, you have to dehumanize them. So the slavers, they said the only way that they could, I guess, justify the inhuman treatment of the African people was to say that we weren't human. We weren't fully human. So quite naturally, if we're not human, then our religious worship has to be demon, because we're not
it comes from that
proclaiming Jesus. So.
Exactly.
It's that Western Christian, even Islam does this.
Yeah.
Islam too. Yes. Islam.
Anything that's Satan. Satan is an adversary.
Yeah, an adversary. Yep.
So if you are not doing what they believe, their faith, the Christian or the Muslim faith tells you to do, then you are of Satan, and all these things are connected, or they relate that way, Riley. I don't know. Am I close?
Yeah, I think that's really accurate. Yeah, it's accurate.
Same, that's the religious,
But I'll tell you guys, there are priests, there are Catholic priests, there are Christian pastors with prendas in their basements.
Yeah.
Trust me, believe me on that.
Yeah.
So it. Yeah, it's got that negative connotation out of prejudice, for sure.
More questions. Let's hear them. Bring them out. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Go ahead.
Do you guys ever get worried telling people about your actual beliefs and or what you believe in, or do you ever get like nervous, or something along those lines?
Well, I don't, because I feel like I can stand on my own ground and defend myself. As far as like if they whatever, because I've been studying different religions. I've been in multiple religions, so I have a pretty good grasp of it, and so I'm confident in that
Yeah.
point. But I'll
Likewise.
try to speak to people in the language that they understand. If I, I don't just bring it up. I don't want, and that's another thing. You don't find people in the traditional religion going around trying to convert others.
No.
But if somebody asks a question or I see where they're interested, then I'll talk. But other than that, I don't.
Tata, would it be a fair thing to say, a fair statement, I guess, to make is it's really about raising your level of consciousness in a lot of ways, bringing the light and really what's real about spirituality and self. And so that you can be the best person that you can be, so that you can give that best out to others and what it is that they need, in life. I mean, I'm not ready to be a doctor, but I've done some work for, between Jose and I, or, or work for myself, spiritually speaking, that I've needed where my egun or my ancestors are telling me, you need to do this. In fact, I've made sacrifices that were not blood sacrifices for things that I need so that I can evolve spiritually and have those things, those blessings in life manifest in the natural. And so one of them, and, I get a little reluctant to talk about, because I have a lack of knowledge because I'm a baby in a way. But I have, I gave up drinking, just recently, which is hard because that was something that I gravitated to for my emotional stability. I used it for anxiety medication. If I needed my emotions to be settled down, I would take a little shot and I'd be all right. Well, now I've made a sacrifice of alcohol so that I can get my emotional state in order, so that I can have my anxiety naturally taken care of, and having my spirit, my egun, helping me do that, having my orishas helping me do that and grow and prosper in ways that Christianity never did, because I was a born again Christian for 16 years. I know the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. On all, I mean, I can quote scripture, I can give you the verse, all that stuff, because I lived it. And now that I've come out of it, I just know so much more that I didn't before. A reality that's more tangible.
You got other questions?
Tata, what's the saying that we have in the religion?
Hang on, Nikki. Tiffany, you got a question?
Yes, I do. I was wondering, you mentioned rituals. How many rituals do you have, and are they complex? Are there some that's very complex to the very minimum type of thing?
Really detailed?
Also, do you have holidays or no? Or is it just rituals? And
No.
is it ritual for any type of day of the year, or is it just specific times?
Well, let me explain it like this. First of all, what is ritual? Ritual is to create a sacred space in order to invite spirit in to do that which we cannot achieve ourselves. That's the purpose of ritual. We create the ritual space, and then you invite the spirit in to do the work for you, whatever it is, something that we couldn't do ourselves. As far as the number of rituals, I mean, there's many. There's a healing quality to rituals and sacrifice. So there's many rituals. Yeah, there are many rituals, and as far as holidays,
very complex.
Yeah, holidays, maybe the birthday of a particular deity. Because that's a holiday, or well, that's usually a time you party.
Yeah.
As well as I'm next Tuesday will be my 23rd anniversary, so that's a holiday for me. Personally, with my Orisha. 23 years we've been working together.
Yeah.
Well, I like the question. Is there a calendar year that you guys follow at certain dates? If there are times you want to do certain ceremonies, or is it whatever the need is, or is it?
No, well, there is, like I said, the feast days of of some of the Orishas.
Mm-hmm.
These are the holidays, yeah. And a
Mhm.
lot, especially in Cuba, you find they usually coincide with the saint.
Saints,
Yeah,
the Catholic
yeah.
saints.
You know, like December the 6th would be Santa Barbara's Day. So
Yeah.
they said, well, that's worship Shango. You know,
Yeah.
celebrate, not worship, but celebrate
Yeah, they celebrate it, yeah.
Shango Day. On September is Yemunya, you know,
Mhm.
like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Tiffany, did you have anything else? Or did that kind of answer your question?
It answered my question. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Who
Those
else?
were the questions, Stephanie.
We got more. We got more. Let's hear from everybody. Kevin, you got something?
I guess I've got a question. And this might be kind of a silly one maybe, but you talked about sort of issues with prejudice against Santeria. Are there any like it sort of nowadays, are there any sort of like issues with any like world governments considering Santeria, or like is it mostly just presumptions from individual people?
Yes, I would say presumption from individual people. Um, you know, more so than governmental. You know, there was a time, especially in Cuba, that like in the early 1900s, where they would go into the people's houses and throw their shrines out into the street, or and even lock them up when they were having ceremonies or initiations. They would go in, you know.
Was
But
that during Castro's regime?
no, that was before That was
Before
Castro,
Castro. Okay.
and even before Batista,
Mm.
because you know Batista was initiated.
Mm. Oh, he
They
was.
said to Shango, yeah,
Mm.
and some people even say Castro was initiated.
That's what they say.
Yeah, yeah, that's what they say. But
They say.
you
How
know,
about,
so
I got a question on that. Remember
Mhm.
Noriega from Panama?
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah, didn't they go in his house and they claimed he was practicing something on this order and
yeah, but I don't know
there was a
exactly what it was he was practicing.
Yeah.
so he was practicing some form and I think they labeled it as a Santeria and
I mean, I think that's the blanket that everybody chooses
Yeah.
to cover it with. You know what I mean?
get some sort of
Yeah.
thing
Mhm.
set up against President Bush Sr.
Yeah,
Remember that?
and you know, also don't forget the Native Americans. You know, they had this spiritual
Yeah.
tradition.
Yes.
So
Oh, yes.
in
Yeah.
those Caribbean islands and South
Absolutely.
America,
They had their
yeah.
forms.
So a
Absolutely.
lot of that is connected
Right.
with
Yeah.
some of the.
But it's
yeah.
just that how our culture just wants to, oh, it's Santeria and it's all evil and bad. It
Yeah.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
With
I
that
think
one
people
line.
are afraid of what they don't understand.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know?
And then you know the very name Santeria is way of the saints.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
You know,
The way
so
of the saints. That's
Yeah.
right. That's what it means.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. I haven't heard from Gregory and I have not heard from Michael. You guys got to come up with something. Come up with a question, please. Gregory, Michael, one of y'all's. Sounds of silence. Nothing? I have no idea. Anybody else have any other questions? Come on, guys, think of a question. This is a great opportunity. Brendan, you got more?
Yeah, I got more.
Good.
Sorry.
All right.
So, so you had said that it took you 3 years to get initiated. Is that
Yeah.
like as far as initiations go? Is that like I guess on average, how long does it take to get initiated?
Well, it's no set time nowadays, but and it would depend really on the godparent and you know the readings that you get. What happened with me was that my godmother, well, she believes in taking things slow, you know, to preparing you because you're going through a life changing transition, you know. So, and I realized after I got initiated that if I had got initiated when I wanted to, like 3 years earlier,
Yeah.
I would have been in trouble, you know, because I wasn't prepared mentally,
Yeah.
you know. So I tell you a little incident. One during I think it was like the year before, or 2 years, no, 2 years before, I went to her house. So she was having other people come in. She was doing some ritual. So we had these pigeons. We went out to the country. She was living in North Carolina. We went out and we bought these pigeons, and she told me to put them up. I put them up in the shed, and I noticed when I put them up that the little wooden crate they was in, one side was not locked. So I thought, oh, they ain't gonna be able to get out, because if they get out, they're not gonna be able to get out of the house, out of the shed. So I put them in there. That night when we was doing the ritual, she said, go get the pigeons for me. When I looked in the crate, it was only about 3 or 4 when it should have been about 10. You know, so my heart sunk. I said, oh. But I remember earlier that evening, we were standing on the back porch, and we saw these birds circling around in the sky. And it's like they did like a
Circle.
a circle around the house, saying, oh, hey, I'm out. And she said, are those the pigeons? I said, oh, no, that's not the pigeons in the shed. Yeah, so she told me after, she said, you're not ready to get initiated because you would kill somebody. You know, if people put their lives in your hands, you know, like, no, you're not ready. So she sat me down for, you know, like about a year and a half. I had to wait longer because I was supposed to get initiated like that next month or so. And
Yeah.
she said, no, you're not ready, you know, because you're not doing.
Yeah.
Other questions?
Yeah. So I can attest to that too. You know, Jose, Tata, as you know, he believes in taking things slow too. And so, you know, lessons that I've had to learn over time, you know, and I bear fruit slow sometimes. So it's taken me some time too. But like I'm supposed to, my next part of I guess you could call it, well, for my priesthood, my path in the priesthood, or as is to receive my prenda. And I know, even though it's been close to a year since I got scratched, a little less than a year, that I'm not ready for it yet. I'm kind of waiting for Tata to know, because as my godfather, he's gonna know, especially because I'm scratched under his prenda. He's gonna know when it's time. His prenda will make him aware, or as my godfather, we have a spiritual connection. So he knows when things ain't okay. He knows when things are okay without me even really saying anything. And so, but he knows that you know, that Jose and I have each other too, which is also a good support. But you know, it takes time. So I don't know when I'm gonna be ready for my prenda. Tata doesn't really, we don't really talk about it. I mean, doesn't really come up because I think I know inside that I'm not ready. You know, it's a lot of responsibility that comes with that, you know, and being ready to receive something like that, especially something with power like that, comes a lot of responsibility. And so I know for myself, you know, I don't want it until I'm ready for it, you know. And I've learned that the hard way too, because I've ruined a lot of things in my life because I wanted it when I wanted it, and that's not. This is different.
Yeah.
Right.
More questions.
I have one more question.
Keep going, Brennan.
So as far as your godparent goes, how do you, like, I guess who, when you know, if you're trying to find your like, do you find your godparent or does your godparent find you?
Yeah, that's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Because in 1993, I wanted to be initiated so bad. I was living in Texas. I lived in Texas for 35 years. So I would come home every year to Philly for, you know, vacation. So I said, when I go to Philly, I know a lot of priests, you know, Santeria priests and whatnot. I knew some from way back in the day, you know, even though I was in Islam at the time. But, you know, we all would congregate and whatnot. So I said, when I go home, I'm gonna hook up with one, you know, so I can start my process of initiation. So it just so happened that I missed him. He had went out of town, and so I missed him. So I had to go back home, and I was so disheartened when I went back to Texas, you know, that I missed my opportunity. So I went to a botanic. I don't know if you're familiar with botanicas, you know, where they sell the you know, the items for, you know,
For ritual.
ritual, spirituality, different things. You know, so um, I went to Botanica in Fort Worth, and I asked the guy. They was Mexican, so I asked him, did he know any Cuban priests? So he sent me up on the north side and said, and I went in there and I told the man that I wanted to join the religion. That's just how, naive I was at the time. You know. So he said, oh, okay. He said, well, you come back tonight when I close up and I'll take you to my house. So I came back that night. He took me to his house and we ate, and then he did a reading for me and whatnot. So he said he was going to initiate me. So, with my printer, for he was going to do the scratching. It just so happened that the night that they did the scratching, this guy came by that didn't even know him. He just came to the store to buy some items, and so he stayed for the initiation. Anyway, the next day when he told me, he said, he said, I don't want to cause no problem between you and your godfather. He said, but I never seen no scratching like that. He said, it didn't seem right, So I didn't pay it too much mind. But then about 2 weeks later, I was in a friend of mine's bookstore, and this Mexican lady came in and she was talking about her husband. He was a Cuban and he wasn't no good and he was messing around on and all, blah, blah. So I said, your husband's Cuban? She said, yeah. I said, well, do you know? And I mentioned my godfather's name. I said, do you know him? She said, yeah, I know him. She said, he's your godfather? I said, yeah. She said, he ain't doing nothing but taking your money and turning you around in circles, and you're not getting nothing out of it.
So that's
yeah. So that's because I went on my own seeking out somebody, just impatiently, right? Instead of waiting for my ancestors to send my teacher.
Yeah.
So anyway, about a month later, I went to Dallas. A friend of mine had a bookstore there. I went there, and she said, I got somebody I want you to meet. And it was her godmother, but I so she took me around the back of the bookstore, and I saw this woman sitting there reading a book, and I saw tribal marks on her face, and she was all dressed in white, and I just went in like a trance. The ancestors started speaking to me. They said, this is the teacher that you were waiting for. This is the one you're supposed to be waiting for right here. And so I was going through the motions of greeting her and all, but at the same time, my ancestors were speaking to me in my head, and I'm wondering, like, wow, what have I got myself into now, So, because this is really my teacher. But anyway, long story short, I wound up hooking up with her. She told me how to break off with this other guy. Found out he was doing a whole lot of crooked stuff. He was just after the money and whatnot. So I was able to break off with him.
That happens in the religion. It happens in
you got charlatans all over in every religion.
Yeah.
You got people,
Everyone.
I mean, yeah.
But I hope I answer your question. You should, wait, let your, if let your ancestors or spirit guide you to the right person. Yeah. Because that godparent is your teacher.
Yes.
Your mentor, your spiritual parent.
Yeah.
More questions. Come on.
Why specifically the number 5?
For Ochun?
Yeah.
She's talking about Ochun, Tata.
What about it?
She wants to know why the number 5 for Ochun.
Why is the 5 though? Yeah.
Oh. Well, all of the Orishas have a number. They have their particular number. So usually, if you look in the Oshun's pot, you would have 5 stones in there, river stones. That's the number 5. Obatala would be 8. Yemanya is 7. So they have their numbers. Numerology. Has meaning.
Numbers are powerful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's the owner of creativity and relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And her astrological representation is Venus, the planet Venus.
Yeah, she works there.
So the Orishas have a astrological representation. They have a physical, you know, like her rivers. She lives in the
Rivers.
river goddess.
Yeah.
So
So we'll leave offerings by the river. I use river water in rituals, depending on what I'm doing. You know,
yeah.
I'll go and scoop up some river water, especially here in Maine. We got some good, flowing river. These are my Ochun beads right here. These ones. And I went down to a river just recently, and just to cool them off and to refresh them and put our essence back into, just to clean them off. And when they came out of that water, they're still, this is like fire.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Questions. Come on, guys. You gotta be curious.
I have a question for Richard, or for anyone who had, a thought of how that could have that negative connotation. Do you think your views
you got something, Richard?
Yeah, I have. See, I always have an open mind to anything. Political views. Anything that kind of isn't what I believe in. I've kind of always been open to. So even being kind of the Christianity faith and being encultured in that my whole life, I've always been, open to listening to others, Muslims. I've been to, synagogues. I've been in a couple different areas and actually listened to, their belief systems and how they're, so I've never really, I've always been told that there was like bad thing or like a bad idea of what, Santeria really was. But not really having an understanding of what it really is, I kind of, it never really hit me. But now that you guys kind of have laid out the foundations, I don't really see that evil view that we've been gifted or kind of like forced upon us from our our young age of being born. So yes, I did learn a lot, and I don't look at it as being evil or I see it more you guys believe
So it changed
kind
your
of.
perspective a little bit. That's good. That
That's
makes me
good.
happy.
Yeah.
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 That's
How about other people's ideas? Has this been enlightening in any way? I know. Thank you, Richard, for that. Have any of the others found this? Tiffany?
Yeah, I mean,
Or Kevin?
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, continue.
Go ahead.
Sure.
We'll get to Tiffany. Don't
I mean,
worry.
I'd never heard of Santeria before, so
Wow.
this was actually really interesting to me. I didn't know anything about it. Not even a misconception of it.
Oh, okay.
Same for me. I had never heard of it, so I kind of had no base to go off of.
Riley's never heard of it.
Interesting as well.
I just heard the name, but I just thought it was fascinating. I'm the type of person that likes to read about it or listen to people talk about their own religions. And I'm always happy to hear people like being so happy about their religions.
Yeah.
Their belief
Absolutely.
systems, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see there's tremendous joy here.
Yes.
With this. And again, this is not an evangelical faith.
No.
No.
Force it on anybody.
That's the thing, Tata. I wanted you to talk, just to say that saying that we have in the religion, the one that we had talked about when we were taking the questions in the notes. Can you say that saying that we have in the religion, that the religion
finds you?
Oh, finds you. You don't find the religion.
Yeah,
right. You have to be to stick to this. You have to be called. Yes. I would say you have to be called.
So just like when you found when you were in Texas and you went to the wrong guy, you were sure, but it wasn't ready for you.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
That's a good way to say
That's
that.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my godmother, she told me, she said, now, because I wanted to go and confront him, like, yeah, you did these things for me and there's wrong. She said, you think he's going to be happy with you when you do that? She said, no, call him and tell him that that you don't want to go any further in the religion. You want to go back into the church. So I wasn't even in the church at the time, but so it wasn't long after that his son called me, because he didn't speak English that good. He's Cuban, and he didn't speak. So his son called me and said, my dad wants to know why you haven't been coming around. So I said, because I don't want to go any further in the religion. I went back into the church. So he told his dad in Spanish, and I heard his dad say, oh, okay. Like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, she gave you the right she gave you the right thing to do.
She gave me the right thing to do, because if I'd have followed my own mind, I would have went up there confrontational. You know, give me my money back. I paid all this money for you for nothing.
So there is an economy with this, like there is with any.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah. I'll say the average initiation, I mean the big initiation where the Orisha is made on your head, that's going to cost about 10,000.
Really? Wow.
Yes, because there's so much that's involved. Oh,
Mm.
and the people and whatnot.
Mhm.
Yeah, so even now maybe Cuba you would get away cheaper because you know things are cheaper in Cuba. So maybe 4,000 or 5,000. But yeah, it's expensive. But, you know,
that's like 1/3 of a ghost hunter's budget.
yeah.
When you think, I know ghost hunters, they put 20, 30 grand into all their equipment to go out and do this, looking for these spirits, and that's not cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about, what it costs to go see a doctor.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know,
And like
They
you
don't have
said,
insurance.
on what it costs to become a doctor. Think of that.
Think of that.
Yeah, your student debt.
we're paying a fraction of the price, huh?
Yeah. But then you make it back, once you get there, get initiated. Yeah, you get
Oh yeah, or just think of people who go to theology school to learn to be a priest or, a pastor. Those schools are free.
Yeah.
There's money involved there too. So,
my wife has a saying. She says, "There's nothing free except the cheese in the trap."
There you go. The cheese in the trap. We have any other questions, people? Any other? Come on, this should be caught here, ready to burst in flames here in a good way.
I'm gonna bring you guys. Can you guys see me? Okay, here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can take you. I'll bring you guys into.
I'm seeing all these chats. I've been.
Oh, can you let me in?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna let you in. There you go. I'll let you in. You're in.
All right, am I in? Let me see.
I think so.
Oh yeah.
I.
Right. No, that's my other.
All right. Well, we should see you. Hang on. There we are. We got you.
I think I'm on my phone. Yeah, that's it.
I see you on the phone.
I'll show you guys my. No, is that not it? What'd you do? That's my other one. That's my.
I see you. I see your computer, your iPad, and I see you. I see your face.
Okay.
We can see you.
Oh, okay. I have to turn. All right. So let me see if I can. It's not moving. Yeah, that's the other computer. I'm on my phone.
No, I see you on your phone. You're walking through your apartment right now.
Yeah, but how come I can't see it?
I don't know. You didn't scroll down far enough on your little screen. But yeah, you're showing us you're showing, there's you. We see you. Hello. So these, why are they, what are they what does it mean, warriors?
When I got my elite days, and yesterday was, we consider it, well, actually Wednesday and Thursday, but I celebrate El Guarde on Monday, so I gave him a little offering. I blew him some cigar smoke, if he likes cigar smoke, and Tata made my warriors for me. So inside my El Guarde, he's the owner of all roads. He opens my path in life. I can give him offerings, say if I'm looking, maybe going for a job that I like, and I go and bring him offerings. Look, if you do this for me, then I'll give you some rum or some cigar smoke or a little toy. See, there's a little dice.
Yeah.
There's some secrets inside here that when Tata made them that I don't know what they are, but it's really the essence of the Elagua, or the deity. And then this is my Ogun pot, and he shares the pot with the warrior Achosi, and a lot of iron. And so and he clears past, he's stability. But if I have something going on, but he's got all kinds of tools in here. He's got a horseshoe, and they're warriors, so they fight for me in life. If I'm having a battle with something, I don't know, I'll give you an example, like maybe a court case, I can, I can talk to them about that. And then up here, this is my Osui, he's one of my warriors too. Usually I'm wearing candles to him, I always keep a cup of water. And he's, my Ori, he's ability of the mind. And I keep him above my head. They suggest that I keep him far above my head because I have, my Ori can sometimes not be aligned. And so it really is stability of the mind for me. But my warriors, they protect me and fight for me in life. And then this is where I do ritual. This is a place that I create space for spirit. And this is where I go to keep water here. This is my ankle block. I have somebody who's here. And these are my vocal shells that I do divination with. And I've learned over time, the more I use them, the more sensitive I am. And I'll turn a candle on, I'll leave offerings. Sometimes I put fresh flowers because my egg is like that. But yeah, that's where I go to pray and hear from my ancestors. And with anything, I can talk to my ancestors about anything. So, could you guys see that stuff okay?
Well, it was a little, on the little screen, it was a little tough, but that's okay. No, it was really cool that you shared that, Artifacts are very important with belief systems. Some are totemic. I mean, most of them are totemic.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys? Anything? Well, we're after 5 here, and we've been going for, think of this, you only had 40 minutes.
I know.
Yeah.
We were able to cover so much.
For 2 hours here, so this is wonderful.
That's good.
And
yeah,
I greatly appreciate your both being here, and
thank you guys for having us, and just appreciate the platform to shed light, and yeah. It's been
what do you the rest of you think? Was this worth it to be on and see this on your last day of class?
I thought it was worth
Yeah.
it. Very interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was nice.
I thought it was a good
Definitely thank you.
I thought we were gonna goof off all day, So I was pretty eye open today. It shocked me that I was actually gonna learn quite a bit today.
That's good. That's
really
good.
cool.
That's good.
We always need new food for thought. We always do.
Yes, that's right.
That's true.
That's
And
true.
understand it's a big world out there, right? It was so
Big world. Yes,
Thank
it
you
is.
first. Yeah.
So
Okay.
guys,
Yeah,
Go ahead, you
thank you
have a
both. This is obviously something you're both very passionate about.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your good questions, guys.
yeah,
Okay.
For helping me get an A. This is part of my grade too, so
right,
thank you.
that's part of her grade. So she's
Oh, good. Okay, I know. All right. I'm glad it was
I
informative.
appreciate it
Yes.
so much.
Thank you so much,
I
Lori.
guess you guys are you on for tomorrow morning with me again?
That's up to Tata. I'll leave that up to him. I feel like I'm wearing him out.
We didn't have any time in the other class to ask you questions.
I mean, really, that's up to
Oh.
Tata. I'm
It's
down.
up to you. It's up to you. I appreciate this tremendously. But you guys can talk about it. It's fine.
All right.
I understand if you're busy and this is you've gone beyond the pale for me, really.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Got you, Lori.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right, well, yeah, Tata, if you're up for answering questions for the previous class that we had, I'll leave that
we
up to
didn't
you.
have all that much time in the other class. Those are only 50.
Yeah, we didn't get to the Q&A. I remember.
Yeah, we didn't, and I know they were curious,
Yeah, they were. There was light bulbs going off all over the place there.
Yeah, they were. So,
Yeah.
so I appreciate.
10 a.m., Lori?
That's 10. Yeah, is that our anthropology? 10. Yeah.
10 a.m.
Yep.
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
and
well,
I'll send
yeah.
the code out for all that too. I'll try and get that out tonight.
Okay.
So, guys,
All right.
thank you guys. This is
Guys, so much.
You're welcome.
you guys have been great for the semester.
Okay.
Take care. you guys.
Again,
All right.
Thank you.
guys,
Cheers.
thank you, Tata. Thank you.
Tata.
Okay.
Namaste.
Sure. All right. Glad
Um,
to be here.
Thank you.
That's-
Thank you
And
so much.
and for
Okay.
everybody else, look, get on your, if you've got work, you've got until the 9th to get me any work you owe, like Tiffany I think emailed you that. And so check your grade book, right?
I've been checking it constantly.
Pardon, Tiffany?
I said, been checking it constantly because I
All
had.
right. I know, because I got you your last 2 assignments to you today.
If you want me to tell you the truth, I was surprised about the grades. It was higher than I
You did
thought.
well on those, you did. So,
Lori, just
guys.
reach out to me if you have any questions or whatever.
Nikki.
And Tata, just text me.
yep, that's okay. You
Okay.
guys go ahead.
All
Thank
right.
you, guys.
Bye,
Have a
guys.
good one.
Bye.
So the rest of you on the class, just check where you're at. If you've got questions, you can email me. Have you got until technically the 9th to get me anything, like if you didn't do information lit or whatever. So your questions, just email me, shoot me an email. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, guys. And you guys have a very safe and good summer. Any of you taking summer classes?
I am.
Yeah, who are you taking, Zach?
I'm taking one of your classes.
Oh, the history? Yay, we're gonna have fun. Hey,
Oh,
I'm
what history
taking-
are you teaching? Hold on.
I'm
we're
taking
doing this
the
history, and guess what we're taking on? This very issue
Yeah.
of I guess, the slavery issue and the loss of the culture and all that good stuff is going on in the history class.
Yep, taking your U.S. history to 1877, and I'm taking microeconomics.
Ooh, well, that's gonna be fun too. Microeconomics, that kind of pertains to a lot of stuff we even did in anthropology.
Yeah, I'll just ask Zach what's happening in that class. Is I have technical difficulties that I have to fix before I sign up for classes and stuff.
Right, that's an issue because we're doing this model again for the summer. We're going to be doing this lovely Zooming stuff, and I guess we're going to be going onto a new platform called Brightspace, and I'm trying to learn it.
Can they just stick with one thing?
Nah, I don't know. It's politics and budget. Rich, are you taking any summer classes?
Me? No, I'm gonna take it off. I'm gonna enjoy it with the kids.
Yeah, please do, and please stay.
We've been feeling claustrophobic in this little shack.
telling you. I'm hoping things are going to improve here. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of scary.
We're just hoping for that warmer weather so we can get out and get hiking like we like to do.
Right.
It's always free to go hiking.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I at least I can get out and walk and around. I mean, nothing's here where I am. I'm in the bush. I'm in the woods. I've had my wood tick. I had my first wood tick though. Had the first.
Oh yeah, us too, dude. We just killed one. I just popped it off my kid's freaking back of the head, and she was freaking out. Took a nice chunk of skin. I felt bad. But I let her watch it burn, so we had fun doing that.
Oh yeah, burn, baby, burn with those wood
Had
ticks.
some bad, mean words to it, and it was all a good day.
Yeah. Well, listen, I hope you all do well, and you've done pretty good in this class, and just whatever you owe me, get it to me. And y'all should have done very well.
Lord, we appreciate you through this crap, man. It was a hell of a ride, especially getting us all this stuff out. So we appreciate it as well.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it was a good class.
Yeah, I had a good time.
I'm glad.
You know, I gotta say, so far you are my most exciting teacher I've had. You are definitely love what you do. So that's
Hey, I heard it's national. I heard it's National Teachers Day today. That one student sent me an email about that.
I wouldn't know. I don't know holidays really well.
No, well, I don't either. I didn't know. I mean, I knew in Korea it was always April 15th, tax day over here, but over in Korea they made a big deal out of it. But I didn't even know. So, but you guys have been great, and maybe I'll see you in another class in the future. And if you're taking history, I'll definitely see you there.
Unfortunately, I'm a little late on that. It's gonna be our last rodeo.
It's all right. You guys,
hell of a ride.
all the best for what you're doing. Okay. Thanks for being on. Y'all got extra credit points for this today.
All right, let's stay safe, guys. All right.
And so thank you so much. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Take it easy.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
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 Bye. Have a wonderful day, you guys.
Oh yeah.
You as
Bye.
well, Tiff.
Everything. Bye bye.